Imagine walking through a forest in dense fog. You have been walking for 10 days. The path is there beneath your feet. You can feel it. Each step lands on solid ground. But you cannot see more than a few steps ahead. The trees are silhouettes. The sky is a gray wash. Sounds arrive from directions you cannot identify. Every decision feels like guessing. You know you are moving, but you do not know toward what. Then, for 1 hour, the fog parts. Not thins, parts. The entire landscape becomes visible in a single breath. The valley below, green and real. The mountain ahead, closer than you thought. The fork in the road that has been approaching for days, the one you could not see but could feel, suddenly appears in full clarity. You see both paths. You see where each one leads. You see the one that is yours. And then the fog closes again. That hour is today. Mercury cazimi at 16 degrees 52 minutes of Pisces, the single most clarifying moment inside the entire retrograde. Most people understand Mercury retrograde as 3 weeks of chaos. Technology breaks, communication tangles, plans unravel. And the standard advice is to retreat, wait, survive. That advice is incomplete. Not wrong, incomplete. Because buried inside every Mercury retrograde is one moment of absolute lucidity, the cazimi. And the cazimi changes everything about what retrograde means. Here is what cazimi actually is. The word comes from Arabic, cazimi, meaning in the heart. In traditional astrology, when a planet is retrograde and therefore considered weakened, there is a brief window during which the planet passes within 17 arc minutes of the exact center of the sun. Not near the sun, inside the sun's heart. In that window, the planet is no longer debilitated. It is purified. The sun's light does not burn it. It illuminates it from within. Every medieval astrologer, every Persian text, every Hellenistic source that discusses cazimi agrees on this point. Cazimi is the exception inside the rule. The retrograde is fog. The cazimi is the 1 hour when the fog does not just lift, but becomes impossible. Here's what that actually looks like. For the past 10 days, Mercury retrograde in Pisces has been revising your inner narrative. Dreams have been louder than usual. Old names have resurfaced. Conversations have replayed with different emphasis. Decisions you thought were settled have reopened. The editing has been relentless, but also formless. You could feel the revision happening, but you could not quite read the edits. The cazimi is the moment the document becomes legible. The revision is not done. Mercury will be retrograde for another 13 days. But today, for this window, you can read what the editor has been writing. The corrections are visible. The thesis statement is clear. The one thing that the entire retrograde has been trying to tell you becomes speakable. You can say it in one sentence. And that sentence is the most valuable thing Mercury will give you all year. 3 days ago, the eclipse revealed what was hidden. Yesterday, the stellium showed you the convergence of forces. Today, Mercury shows you what to do with what you saw. This is the sequence: revelation, convergence, clarity. Each step built on the previous one. The eclipse cracked the shell. The stellium identified the 3 forces shaping the crack. And the cazimi hands you a clean sentence that says, "This is what it means, and this is what comes next." Now, I want to reframe something about Mercury retrograde that changes how you experience the remaining 13 days. Retrograde is not all shadow. That is the popular narrative, and it is a distortion born from fear-based astrology that treats the cosmos as a threat rather than a teacher. The retrograde cycle has a shape, a deliberate, elegant shape. It begins with disruption as Mercury slows and stations retrograde. Communication snags, plans shift. The familiar path through your daily life develops unexpected detours. During the first week, Mercury moves backward through territory it already covered, and the energy deepens. Surface glitches give way to interior revision. Dreams become messages, names resurface. The editing moves from your inbox to your identity. Around the midpoint, the cazimi arrives, one flash of total clarity, a lighthouse beam sweeping across the dark water. For one rotation of that beam, you see every rock, every shore, every ship. And then the second half of the retrograde is fundamentally different from the first. The fog returns, yes, but you have the sentence. You have the insight the cazimi delivered. The second half is not confusion, it is integration. You are no longer walking blind through a forest. You are walking with the map the cazimi drew for you, through fog that is thinning incrementally, day by day, until Mercury stations direct on March 20th. And here is the detail that makes this particular cazimi extraordinary. Mercury stations direct on March 20th, the exact day Saturn and Neptune conjoin at 0 Aries. The retrograde began as personal revision. It ends as civilizational reset. The sentence the cazimi gives you today is not just your personal compass. It is your specific instruction for how to enter the most significant astrological event of the decade. This is not a waiting game. This is a process with architecture. And understanding the architecture transforms you from passenger to navigator. Sit with that for a moment. Mercury at 16 degrees Pisces is specific. In astrology, degree matters. Every degree of the zodiac carries a particular charge, and 16 Pisces is the midpoint of the sign, the fulcrum where Pisces energy is most concentrated. It sits opposite 16 Virgo, directly on the axis the eclipse activated 4 days ago. The lunar eclipse at 12 degrees 54 minutes Virgo and this cazimi at 16 degrees 52 Pisces are speaking to each other across the zodiac like two ends of the same sentence. The cazimi is not happening in a vacuum. It is happening on the axis the eclipse tore open. Whatever the eclipse at 12 Virgo revealed, the cazimi at 16 Pisces is providing the interpretive key. Think of it this way. The eclipse was the X-ray. It showed you the fracture in the bone. The cazimi is the doctor reading the X-ray and telling you exactly what the fracture means, what caused it, and what the body needs to heal. The eclipse showed you the crack in the system. The cazimi tells you why the crack matters and what it is making room for. If you experienced the eclipse as confusion, as too much information arriving without a framework to hold it, today should feel like the first clear thought in days. If you experienced the eclipse as painful clarity, as a truth you could see but did not want to accept, today should feel like the pain resolving into purpose. The truth has not changed. Your relationship to it has. It is no longer an intruder. It is an instruction. And this matters because of what comes next. The cazimi is not an isolated gift. It is a pivot point inside a larger structure. 13 days from now, Mercury stations direct. On the same day, Saturn and Neptune conjoin at 0 Aries. The cazimi sentence is not just for today. It is the thesis for the next 13 days and the instruction manual for how to enter the conjunction. Every choice you make between now and March 20th can be guided by the sentence you write today. 4 days from now, Jupiter stations direct in Cancer. Jupiter has been retrograde since December, moving backward through the sign of home, family, and emotional security. When a planet stations direct, it is like a river that has been flowing backwards, suddenly resuming its natural course. The current returns, movement accelerates. What has been stuck begins to flow. What began to crystallize in today's cazimi will be picked up and amplified by Jupiter's direct station. The clarity you receive today is not static information. It is a seed that Jupiter will water and the conjunction will plant in permanent ground. The architecture is extraordinary when you see it from above. Cazimi clarity on March 7th, Jupiter momentum on March 11th, Saturn-Neptune new beginning on March 20th. 3 events, 13 days, 1 trajectory. Each event amplifies the previous one. The clarity becomes momentum. The momentum becomes foundation. You are not stumbling through retrograde season hoping the confusion ends. You are being guided through a corridor that opens into the most significant astrological event of the decade. And the cazimi just handed you the map. Now, this is an action day, not a reflection day, not a waiting day. The cazimi rewards decisiveness. Not reckless action, decisive clarity. The kind that arrives not from thinking harder, but from thinking less and listening more. Mercury in Pisces speaks through intuition, not logic, through the body, not the spreadsheet, through the image that appears behind your eyelids, not the argument in your mind. The action for every sign today is the same format. Write 1 sentence, 1 decision, 1 clear statement that captures what the cazimi illuminated. Do not edit it. Do not qualify it. Do not add but or maybe or unless. The first draft is the truest draft. The sentence that arrives before your rational mind can interfere is the sentence the cazimi is offering. Pick up a pen, not your phone, a pen. There is a reason. The hand moves slower than the keyboard, and in that slowness, Mercury in Pisces can speak without being outpaced by your habits of self-correction. Aries. The cazimi illuminates your 12th house, the hidden, the private, the thing you know but have not admitted. Your sentence lives in the space between sleeping and waking. Write it before your mind fully starts the day. Your decision. What are you ready to stop hiding from yourself? Taurus, your 11th house, community and vision. The cazimi clarifies which future is actually yours versus which future you inherited from other people's expectations. Your decision. What would you build if approval were irrelevant? Gemini, Mercury rules you. This cazimi is yours, your 10th house, career and public identity. The fog around your professional direction lifts entirely for 1 hour. Your decision. Write the job title that does not yet exist, but describes what you actually do. That title is more real than the one on your LinkedIn. Cancer. Your 9th house, beliefs and philosophy. A conviction crystallizes, not a new one that has been forming for months in the dark. Your decision. Complete this sentence without thinking, what I now believe is... Leo, your 8th house, shared resources, intimacy, the truth between you and another person. The cazimi shows you the exact nature of an agreement you have been navigating by feel. Your decision. Name the thing you need from this arrangement that you have been afraid to say is non-negotiable. Virgo, your 7th house, partnerships. The eclipse was in your 1st house. The cazimi is in your 7th. The axis between self and other is being illuminated from both ends. Your decision. One sentence about what you now see clearly in the person across from you. Write it as fact, not as wish. Libra, your 6th house. Routines, health, the daily architecture. The fog around a health pattern or a work habit lifts. You can see the mechanism, your decision. Which one habit has been costing you more energy than it provides? Name it. Today, that naming becomes permanent. Scorpio, your 5th house, creativity, romance, joy. Something you abandoned or denied yourself becomes visible as essential. Not optional, essential. Your decision. What would you create or who would you love if failure were not a category? Sagittarius, your 4th house, home, roots, foundation. The cazimi illuminates the foundation of your inner life. What supports you and what has been quietly draining you? Your decision. One sentence about what home needs to feel like in the next chapter. Not what it looks like, what it feels like. Capricorn, your 3rd house, communication and daily exchange. A message crystallizes. Something you need to say or something you need to hear becomes perfectly clear. Your decision. Write the message you have been composing in your head for weeks. Do not send it. Just write it exactly as it wants to be said. Aquarius, your 2nd house, money and self-worth. The cazimi shows you the precise gap between what you are worth and what you are allowing yourself to receive. Your decision. Name your actual value in one sentence. Not your market value, your real value. Let it be uncomfortably large. Pisces. Mercury is cazimi in your 1st house. This is the most personal cazimi possible. The Sun and Mercury are meeting inside your identity. The message is not about a situation or a relationship or a career. It is about you. Who you are when the fog lifts entirely. Your decision. One sentence that starts with I am and that you would stake everything on. Write it. Keep it. It is the truest thing you will write all year. The fog will return tomorrow. Mercury is still retrograde for 13 more days. But the sentence you wrote today, the one clear thought the cazimi delivered, does not disappear with the fog. It becomes the compass. It becomes the still point inside the remaining weeks of revision and integration. Every decision between now and March 20th can be measured against it. Does this move me closer to what I saw or further away? That is the only question you need for the next 13 days. Not a dozen questions, not a strategy. One question and one sentence. Jupiter turns direct in 4 days. The planet of expansion and faith will resume forward motion in Cancer, the sign of home and belonging and emotional truth. What began to move inside you today will accelerate. The sentence will find legs, the clarity will find momentum, and the conjunction on March 20th will formalize what you already know. 6 months from now, you will look back at this day, at this particular Friday in early March, and say, that was when I knew. Not when everything changed, When I knew what the change was. What will you do with what you now see clearly? That question does not need an answer tonight. Hold it. Let it sit in the body alongside the sentence. The answer is already moving toward you. It has been moving toward you since the eclipse. The cazimi just let you see it approaching. And I will see you in the next one.